Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One, and welcome back to episode 10 of Full Metal Panic Second Raid, Hong Kong and 2. This episode is a bit of a melancholy episode, a very kind of low-key, not a lot of action, but has some good character development, learn a bit of information, but also, and not to say that it's not a bad episode, we get some good moments, but basically through this entire episode, it's kind of dedicated to Sosuke's state of mind. He is in a bit of a cloud after being relieved from Kamina, and he doesn't really know how to process this state of being. He's away from her. He doesn't understand the aspect of love, but of course he also has the side of him that follows orders, and he just can't betray it. So he's he's in a conflicted state of mind, and just. Basically, we kind of see throughout the episode he's in the clouds, and he's just not all the way there. He's not all there with it, and it eventually leads to the point at the end of the episode where, after getting a bit of a car accident, Mao says, I'd be a lot safer if you were not myself. He kind of understands without you. I understand the state of mind, but you got to forget about it. And that prompts Sosuke to kind of just act on his own and say, all right, I'm leaving. You're right. I'll get away from this. She tries to get him back, but kind of fails. I mean, and I guess she can't blame him. So he did tell her, I'd be safer without you. It's kind of a funny moment, but it's also serious. And you kind of sort of feel for Sosuke. He's not the most normal human, given he's grown up in war times and never experienced true love. And Tessa is not someone he has feelings for, because Tessa's a commander. Anyway. But beyond that, we've got a lot of good information. We learn a little bit more about Mao. We learned that after being kicked out of the Marines, she spent 2 months in Hong Kong because she didn't want to be next to her parents, because her parents are a bit crazy, a little not the greatest of people. Her father was a dingbat bomber, and then he's kind of a bit of a cheeky bastard. He tried to get Mao married at a very young age, and that's what prompted her to go to join the Marines. Basically told, she was in her wedding dress and all right, I'm going to join the Marines on that day. And it's then they said that, are you sure you want to join? I'm like, of course I joined. Because my father was part of the Air Force. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, it was the greatest decision of her life that she's ever made, and kind of led her down this path. And it gave her a sense of freedom. And that's what kind of Sosuke kind of gravitated on, oh, freedom. And it just, you can kind of tell where his mind is at. He's longing for that. But we learned, like I said, we learned about that. We also learned a little bit more about the AS and the Arbalest. We learned that in order to activate the Lambda drive, you need to exceed the gamma amount that humans can produce, which in the anime is between 30 and 50, but humans can go between 25 and 100, and potentially have 140. So you got to exceed the limit in order to use it. And unfortunately, you can't be at the constant state of mind, and that's where you need the TI-97 drug to do it. But then we kind of have a bit of a moment, because, before we continue, we also have this beautiful line. I forgot the order of things. We also, at the beginning of the episode, something I really wasn't expecting, is that we have a prayer, because Tessa's going to pray for her people right before they go on the mission to Hong Kong. And it's a very, it's a prayer to the Almighty Christ. And it's very, very sea-oriented. The first time around, I was I was just enjoying the prayer. But then, listening to it, I'm like, oh, this is very, very in tune. It's a very nice one. I like it. But it's something I'm unexpected. Of course, Tessa being Catholic and everything, it would make sense to give her. And everybody is very polite about it. But anyway, so after they learn a little bit more about the Arbalest, the Arbalest system, that's the Lambda drive and everything. Sosuke goes to the Arbalest and decides to have a conversation with Al, the computer system. He's because because of Clouseau and talking with the machine and having an AI program, he kind of wants to be a little bit more friendly towards it. And they have a bit of a conversation, learn a few words, have a bit of a chit chat. And the Arbalest basically tells Al tells Sosuke, the reason I'm incomplete is because of you, and he gets angry at that. He's trying to make progress, but he kind of just eventually has to tap out because of Malik calls him back to duty. Anyway, but their mission in Hong Kong is to find an AS. This black, this kind of grayish one that is being used by, I think, one of the sisters. But essentially, it's a gray Venom. It also has the Lambda drive in it. We see it during the episode. Their mission is to kind of find it and then eventually take it out. One thing we've learned about AASs is that it can't run 24 hours a day, but basically where it's hiding, it can't be around like birds or dogs because the dog can smell the ECS's ozone that it produces, and birds can see it because the ECS cannot can hide in UV lights, so that's how birds can basically see it, and that is something that's in real life. So a little bit of a good information. But once they kind of get their orders to go to Hong Kong, this moment I was kind of debating whether or not to show it, but basically Tessa and Sosuke cross paths, and it's just a very heavy moment. They don't talk or anything, and Tessa feels the weight of Sosuke, just like not him talking, like he's definitely mad at her, and he feels that pressure that he exudes upon her, and like that's kind of his mindset. He's just angry at her, and because he doesn't know how to express himself, it leads to scenarios like this. Very powerful moment, and a moment I do definitely like, and I feel bad for Tessa, and in many ways I do feel bad for Sosuke that he's in this position because he's just a different built human that doesn't know how to express himself. But that's essentially at the end of the episode. Next part, we will be going to his problem, which is basically Sosuke wandering around Hong Kong trying to figure himself out. Definitely looking forward to it, so we're going to have a bit of another melancholy. There's going to, of course, be some more action, of course, because we got to deal with that gray AS. But, yeah, just a good episode. Kind of curious how I was going to review it and everything. But, I'm not mad. I'm definitely not mad. It's just a good emotional episode. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys back next time for episode 11 this Friday. Hopefully you have a wonderful day. You might make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also hype up the video as well. It's a new feature. So if you can, just remember. Anyway, have a good Wednesday. Hopefully it's not too bad for you.